Hello, I just wanted to do a quick demonstration flight of the XFirstOfficer files I've written for the Toliss A319 and A321, just to give you kind of a little tutorial on how to interact with the first officer and what the first officer does for you. So we're at Torino and we're going to do a short flight to Verona, about 160 miles, so it shouldn't take too long. I might split it into sections just to make it more palatable for you. So without further ado, so we're inside, cold and dark, waiting to start the first officer files. But first thing you do is you'll probably need to set up some keys. So the first one will be on the flywheel lure and X officer pre-flight menu and that Control B I've set for me. And the next one is X first officer program and is the next key, which I've set to keypad minus. So you'll definitely need them two keys. So I've got them set up. So this is your X First Officer window, and this kind of tells you what the X First Officer is doing. I'll talk to that as we need to. And Control B, and it brings up your pre-flight menu. And here you've got your departure settings, you've got your automatic flows, you've got your pre-flight, sorry, your performance approach page information, and you've got your destination set up there. So I'll talk through that as we need to. So we're cold and dark. Also, two other things: if you have better pushback installed, it will open the menus and automatically do that for you, automatically start the pushback. All you need to do is, through your pre-flight, is set up the pushback direction. And also, if you have ground handling on, it will open the ground handling widget menu, so you can then connect wherever you want ground equipment. I have both of them connected, so you'll see as we go through. So first thing I want to do is press the next key, and you see X First Officer starts. It brings up my window here, so I'm going to connect the loaders and the ground power.
Good morning, Captain.
Good morning.
Waiting for you to power on the aircraft.
Okay, that's the first thing the first officer is waiting for me to power on the aircraft, so I'll do that. You can see, waiting for batch power. The two little dots means it's waiting for something, and I've generally put a waiting there as well, so it makes more sense. So, powered on the aircraft.
Waiting for ground power to be switched on.
Okay, I'm going to put ground power on as well. And the only other duties I have really on the overhead that I have to do is...
Aircraft is powered. I am starting my cockpit preparation.
Okay, thank you. Is put the ADAS to nav and for a line and turn on the crew oxygen. If I wanted to, I could do the fuel pumps when needed, and I can do the APU, but first officer does all this for you if you want to leave it. So what I'll do is I'll set up the barrow, which is 17. So that's set. So the first
Service
officer.
doors are open.
So the first officer will set his barrow at some point during
test.
his pre-flight. So you can see he's just going to check through all the enunciate lights. You can leave him to it. I'll leave her to it. So here, service doors open. So I'm just going to connect the service vehicle. There she comes. And my primary duty on the pre-flight is the MCDU. So LIMF, so LIPX, let's align the IRS, and flight number is OEO.
Are you ready for the fire tests?
I am ready for the fire tests. You can see in the information window we've got ready for the fire test, and the two little chevrons means the first officer is waiting for you to press the next key. So when you're ready for the next key, all you do is you press the next key.
APU. Engine 1. Engine 2.
Okay.
Fire tests complete.
Oh yeah, complete there.
My cockpit preparations are complete.
Okay, so I'll continue with my MacDo, and I believe
I'm going out for the walk around.
going up for the walk around. Perfect. Just give me some time to complete my part. Right. Let me just quickly get some information in. So delete that Pevic. That should be right. Give it that's fine. As you see, I'm rushing through this. So use the load preference sheet. So I'm going to go with block fuel of 5. And I'm going to go with 5.5. Keep that as it is. So 5 and 55.1 and 28.2. Okay, performance, go with flaps 1. So we got 1 up 0.3, 0.3, and temp of 64, and 153, 153, 155. Cool, 6,000 is transition, and I do believe the actual arrival transition is 6,000 as well. Okay, the only thing I need to do is set up just as a fix CSL 16, and got just a 104 going out. And rad navs, I'm going to set them up anyway. CSL and top. Okay, second flight plan. You can all do this if you wish, but I'm not going to do it just for demonstration. So we're ready to go. Performance, I've set performance up. I'm happy with that. That's all happy. So my initial altitude. So you would control your side of the ND, and you would control the autopilot functions here. The only thing you wouldn't do is on departure, if you have autopilot on after takeoff, then the First Officer will start APU 1. So I'm going to do that now. I also want pushback, call for pushback, and I also want packs off for takeoff, where the First Officer will turn them off and turn them back on during the schedule. You can do it if you want APU on for takeoff, you can leave that, and the First Officer will turn that off as required. On the climb, I'm going to do First Officer 10,000 foot call and cruise call and top of descent call. Initial descent altitude I'm going to put down to 5, and I'm going to do First Officer will control flaps and gear as well during the approach. I'll fill the performance approach page in when we're on cruise, and I'm going to leave config for landing and auto brakes low, and I won't bother with the APU during taxiing. So that's it, that's set up. So initial altitude I'm going to go to 8,000 on the climb out. Straights. So good. So the only other thing you really need to control is the code. The First Officer will control all transponder settings, but you just obviously do your squawk codes. I'm going to put in 5522. So we are good here. I'll sit there. So I'm going to set up as part of my pre-flight.
I'm back with covers and pins.
I'll see how that goes. It's been a bit dodgy, the pushback.
Loading has started.
We'll see how we go.
Ground to cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
Okay.
Seatbelt signs on.
Okay, so the First Officer's back. Go through flows first.
I am ready for MCDU.
So we can see that the service door is closed, so I'm going to push away the service vehicle. So now we've set up the MCDU, the First Officer can do a cross check. So if I just press the next key by the 2 chevrons, First officer will go through.
From the MCDU, zero fuel weight is 55.1 tons and the block fuel is 5 tons. Cruise flight level is 200. Cost index is 15. Departure runway is 36. Takeoff flaps will be config 1, with the trim setting of up 0.3. Flex takeoff temperature is 64. Thrust reduction altitude is 2,460. Thrust acceleration altitude is 2,460. Engine out acceleration altitude is 1,360. Transition altitude is 6,000. V1 is 153. VR is 153. And V2 is 155. My cross check is complete.
Okay, so yep, cross check is complete. I'm happy with that. So again, if I just click next.
I am ready for the departure briefing.
Okay, ready for departure briefing. I'm not going to give departure briefing. I'm just going to make sure that I've done everything. So MCD is set. Panel is set. Heading altitude is set initial. We're all set on this side. And next thing the first officer will do after the briefing, I'll let the first officer do it, is turn on the pumps.
No questions.
Okay, no questions.
Fuel pumps going on. I am starting the APU.
Perfect. Okay, loading is complete. We can see there I'm going to complete the loading by pressing the next key. But I'll just wait till we've got APU power. I normally just start this when I finish my MCDU setup, or as the first officer's checking the MCDU. So we've got GPS primary
APU on the
line.
bus. Disconnecting ground power. High ground. Can you disconnect external power, please? Ground power removed.
Okay, ground power's removed and clear, so
APU bleed on.
okay, APU bleed is on. Perfect. Thank you. So let's now complete the loading. So loading complete, chevrons. I'm going to click next, complete the loading. So loading is completed. So power is on, so I'm going to remove ground power and remove ground loader units. You can see the doors will close in. Preparing for departure. The first officer will go through.
Ground to
first.
cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Okay, so we're driving up.
We have the load sheet.
And we have the load sheet, perfect. This mister always gets run over. I wish someone could tell him. Okay, so we have the front door, left door closed.
Doors and hatches are closed.
And jetway
Okay,
is
all
clearing.
doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Okay, and a pushback's connecting. Perfect.
Nose wheel steering disconnected.
Okay, so nose was disconnected, so we know that the bypass pin's in. So we're going to need to do our before start checklist. So, before start checklist
Cockpit preparation.
is complete.
Gear pins and covers.
Are secure,
Signs.
are on and auto,
Aders.
are nav.
Fuel quantity.
We have 5 tons. Yep, 5 tons.
Takeoff data.
So we have.
Tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Okay, stand by. Yep, so we have 153, 153, 155, and 64 flex.
Baro ref.
Is 1017 cross checked.
Before start checklist to the line.
Okay. Okay, we've cleared to push, so I'm going to do below the line.
Windows and doors.
Are closed.
Beacon.
Is on.
Thrust levers.
Are idle.
Parking brake.
It's still on for the second.
Before engine start checklist complete.
Okay, so we're complete and we're already taxi, so I'm going to release the parking brake.
Starting pushback. And you may start engines.
Okay, we have start clearance from the tug, so if I put onto ignition and start. So what we're going to do, engine starting is our responsibility, which yes, got a little bit of dodgy pushback start. It always seems to be the way with the latest release. Okay, so so the engine start, that was close. The engine start is captain's responsibility, but first officer knows which engine you're starting. So waiting for engine start. So I'm going to do right engine 2 first.
Engine 2 starting.
Now we're going to ignition and fuel flow. Okay, we have PS off, so I'm going to start engine 1.
Engine 1 starting.
We have N2. Okay, 22, fuel flow, EGT. Okay, bleed off, engine start. To norm. Okay, we are good. Let's do the after engine start checklist.
Wait for engines to be started.
Okay. Have to wait till it gets to 20 available and 20%, so we're good now, M1.
APU bleed off. I am ready for the after start checklist. Anti-ice.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Okay, parking brake set. Anti-ice is off.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Echem status.
Is clear.
Pitch trim.
Is 0.3 up. Set.
Rudder trim.
Is 0.
After start checklist complete.
So I'm just going to pause it here. And maybe go into a new video. Just wait till we disconnected from the push.
Nose wheel steering disconnect cleared.
Okay, so the pin's released.
Hose disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Control check.
Okay, thank you. So, ready for flight control check. I'll just see the toe out on the left, on the right, sorry. Okay, there's the pin, so we're all good. So I'm just going to probably interrupt the first recording over.